Ciao a tutti e benvenuti ad un altro episodio delle Interview X. Come sapete, quest'oggi con noi abbiamo Depesh Mandalia e l'intervista sarà completamente in inglese. Quindi vi consiglio di tenervi pronti, di tirare fuori il quaderno per gli appunti, prendere tutti gli appunti del caso perché sarà una live veramente, veramente piena di valore. Da adesso in poi parlerò solo ed esclusivamente in inglese. Introduciamo il nostro ospite. Hey Depesh, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to our tour group. How are you?
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. It's a nice, hot, sunny day in London. So looking forward to talking about Facebook ads and taking any questions everyone has as well.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for doing this. It means a lot to the group, especially to have someone that has your experience in Facebook ads. I've watched the interview you did on Jot URL a few weeks ago, and there were a few amazing golden nuggets there that you could have only through experience. But for the few of you that might not, for the few of us that might not know you, would you mind giving a really quick introduction about who you are and what you're doing as of now in your life?
Absolutely. So I'm currently running a Facebook ads agency. I've been doing that for a couple of years. I also do training and events and kind of helping people to get better results themselves. And I also run my own e-com as well. So they're the kind of three main things that I'm working on right now. Now, my background actually in kind of early 2000, I started off as a developer and then for 3, 4, 5 years went into project management. And I didn't enjoy it. You know, if anyone's done project management, it's not the most fun thing. But in 2005, I fell into e-com and my role was just to manage the website. So I was looking after analytics, landing pages, customer research. And that's when I found my passion. Like this, I thought this is amazing. I spent 4.5 years at the same company. And then in 2009, I was made redundant, which was a difficult period for me, but actually turned out to be a blessing because I couldn't find a job for maybe 3 months, but that pushed me into affiliate marketing. So in 2009, I kind of had that wake up moment of realizing I didn't need a job. Like I didn't have to go and get a salary. And then in 2 years later, we did 7 figures through affiliate marketing. And that was amazing. And that was a big step up. It was the big kind of, if you've seen the Matrix and the blue pill and the red pill, that was my red pill. I'd taken the red pill. I got out of the Matrix and I was like, I can actually create wealth. It was unbelievable. In 2012, I screwed it up because I made some bad business decisions and we kind of lost that revenue. So that was a big, big kind of learning for me as an entrepreneur. Honestly, everyone makes mistakes. I'm no different. I made a huge mistake. And actually, fortunately, that pushed me into Facebook ads because in 2012, I kind of created my affiliate marketing business through SEO and content. So at that time, Google made some big changes and I lost my kind of traffic and rankings. So I needed a fast traffic source and I was going back into paid search and Facebook and other channels. And it took me 12 to 18 months to really figure out the code of how to make Facebook ads work. And honestly, back then it's quite embarrassing, but all I was doing is boost posts. I would put a post on my page and boost it. And I just couldn't understand how can you even get sales from this? Anyway, by 2014, we did figure it out. And I took a company, print on demand e-com from 800K to 8 million in 12 months. And that was just through Facebook ads, which was insane. It was probably the fastest scaling that Facebook had seen in Europe at the time. That got me invited to kind of speak with Facebook. And then in 2015, we went one better, took them from 8 million to 26.5 million. So in that kind of 18 months, I believe at the time we were the fastest growing business on Facebook. I don't even know if there was anything in the US, but certainly in Europe. So that got me involved with Facebook. Since then, I've been an advisor. I've done roadshows for Facebook. I attend internal meetings and I kind of give feedback on products and I kind of get early access to things. And also now that I've started my agency, Facebook give me pretty much what I need. So if I need to speak to the auction team, I'll go and get on a phone call with the auction team, ask them questions, policy and things like that. So it gives me a big advantage in the world of Facebook. So after the kind of big success with e-com, I wanted to see if I could repeat that across different businesses. So 2016, I started to kind of freelance and just kind of consult and help out businesses. But then one of the things that really bugged me, now, if anyone is advertising on Facebook, is that the level of support is really, really poor from Facebook. The reps, the training and things like that. And I had a honest conversation with someone senior at Facebook. And I said, look, I've worked with Google and Google's support 10 years ago was better than what you guys have got right now. And they said, look, here's the problem. There's 3 layers within Facebook support. One is the marketing experts. So they're the ones that email you and say, hey, your click-through rate is 1.2%, book a call and we'll help you improve your click-through rate. They're not really that helpful. In fact, a lot of these don't actually work for Facebook. They're contractors and they have a script and they'll kind of read off a script. 99% of you will be better than these marketing experts, but don't reject it, because that's the first step of getting proper support from Facebook. So Facebook, if a marketing expert reaches out, use that opportunity. Even though what they tell you is not going to be that useful, start the conversation and it will be flagged on your account that a marketing expert's working with you. That's the first step to getting a partner rep. So the partner rep is the next level. They're a bit more experienced, but their access is far better. They can give you data on your ad account. There's lots of stats that you can't see. So I went to a Facebook event 2 weeks ago, and my rep was, no, in fact, another rep was looking at my ad account because I had some banned ads and I just needed to figure out what was going on and what I could do to fix it. And I saw her dashboard, and like whatever you see in Business Manager, they're seeing like whole different numbers and stuff. And it was really fascinating, like how many ads are live, how many are disapproved, what the status is. They've got loads of things. So those partner reps are really good. Then there's a third level, which is the high level reps. These people really know their stuff, but there's not enough of them. And actually I've learned from them as well. And here's the thing, like when you get up to the kind of higher levels of Facebook, they realize that I don't need to work for Facebook anymore to make money, because they know the system inside out. They've seen hundreds of ad accounts. A lot of these people leave Facebook and start their own agency or their own e-com or affiliate marketing, and they make a lot of money. So Facebook have a big problem that they can't support. I think it's like 6 or 7 million advertisers on Facebook right now. There's no way Facebook can support it. So that's why I made a decision in 2017 to go all in on Facebook and start an agency, because I thought I'm going to start a big agency and support clients to get better results. But what I realized is if you've got 10, 20, even 50 clients, there's like 10 million businesses out there that need your help. This is a drop in the ocean. So then the next step was, how can I actually do that better? That's when I actually started a community and a training program in events and masterminds, because I want to reach more people. So right now my group is about 10,000 people. Even 10,000 is small. 10,000 compared to 7 million advertisers means that if I want to kind of achieve my goal, I've still got a long way to go. But that's kind of where I'm focusing right now, on building community. And like we were talking before, it's about helping people to learn how to do ads properly and build a long-term business, because there's a lot of people who are, so you'll see these people, you've never heard of them before, and then they post a post in a group of how they scaled in 3 months to 1 million or something like that. It's not proven. They've done it once. Now, what's the chance they can do it again? So if you hear from the likes of me and Tim Bird and other people, we've been doing this for many, many years. When I share anything, I don't share it unless I've tested it on multiple businesses and multiple ad accounts. Then I'm confident that, you know what, this works. And then I'm going to share it. And generally everything I share works because I've tested it and properly analyzed it to see if it works. And also, I like to focus on building businesses on Facebook. I know some people want short-term success. They want a drop ship store and they just want to take money and exit. That's fine. But if you want to create a sustainable business, there's a different way of making ads work. And it's actually working on the marketing more than just the Facebook ads. So, if I was to balance and say, so here's the thing, I'm hiring for a media buyer right now. And one of the questions I ask is, what's more important, knowing sales and marketing or knowing Facebook ads? And for me, it's knowing sales and marketing, because I can teach you Facebook ads. Absolutely. Teaching you marketing and being customer centric and really kind of thinking about customer journeys, that's harder to teach. So this is something that I try and get people to focus on as well.
No one actually does that. That's a problem, in my opinion, because a lot of people as of nowadays have mistaken the arbitrage for building a business. There is a difference between selling at 10 and buying at 10 and selling at 40, or producing something that can be sold at 40. So that's what a lot of people are doing as of now, and it's not sustainable. But it's not only sustainable for them, but it's potentially damaging a whole industry, because you might have a big business that decides to look at one of the case studies you mentioned, for example, someone that just started and had big luck and was selling something that was viral by default and made 3x ROAS on 10 millions, and everyone is super hyped. And then you take the corporate client that decides to test that And that doesn't, of course, work because it was luck, or the conditions were different. And then usually that corporate is brought to think that Facebook ads don't work. But it's not that Facebook ads don't work. It's the strategy that was behind it that was wrong. And that's what I'm trying to also try to indoctrinate, let's say, in the group. Like the button, knowing what button to click, it's not crucial. I mean, the button is going to change next year, in 10 years, in 20 years. Knowing why you need to click the button, that's the main thing. So people are like, yeah, but I want to know how, what's the hack to get the CTR? I mean, of course, there are hacks to get the better CTR. You might do engagement baiting, you might use the right use of emoji, of the CTA, and all of that. But the point is not how to hack the good CTR, it's how to get good CTR in general by targeting the right people or creating the good creative. So I have a question related to this, more to the business aspect than anything. Because you mentioned, they have a problem, Facebook has a problem with higher end reps going away, which is what happened with Wish and Google. So old Google directors went and created Wish, and Wish made it really big. Why do you think they are doing what they are doing with the reps? What I'm trying to say is I've come to talk to a lot of reps in the last 2 years, and in some cases there were businesses that were prone to get into Facebook ads, but couldn't get a hold of the actual marketing rep, of the actual marketing department. So businesses that were spending 250K a month on Google and wanting to replicate that on Facebook as well. So they were bringing in, there is no line of communication available or easily available. So it's completely non-customer centric platform. So, which is against what all the successful .com, post.com bubble kind of businesses have proven that you need to be. So what's your take? What's your take on that?
Well, that's the reason you have all these gurus, right? Because they're filling a gap that Facebook are leaving. And I honestly think if Facebook were to tackle this properly. So here's the thing, like if anyone's taken Facebook's blueprint course, it's useful to know what to do, but nowhere does it teach you how to make money. Like there's a difference here. So here's my analogy, right? So I love the Ferrari sports car, right? Italian classic. Now, if you were to give that to someone who's just passed their driving test, they're probably going to crash it, because like driving a normal car and driving a high-end performance car is very different. When you take blueprint training, it's teaching you how to drive a car, but it doesn't teach you how to drive a race car. There's a real big difference there. And that's where a lot of kind of gurus come in and say, this is how you can scale your ad account to 100K in 60 days, whatever it is. And a lot of them are, a majority of them out there are fake, in the sense that they have a one-time success and then they try and sell a course, or they're copying someone else. Like this is the thing that bugs me. I've seen a lot of people copying my material and actually selling it in courses. Now they can take theories and strategies and stuff, but they don't really understand how to apply it. And they're teaching people really badly as well. And that's the thing that really, really annoys me. That's where the likes of John Loomer are great, because, he's come in and he's in the US, he's helping people to learn Facebook ads properly. The likes of Tim Bird, the likes of Kat Howell, that's what I'm trying to emulate as well, to try and fill a gap where you know who to turn to for quality advice. Someone who's been around this game a long time, who has a lot of reputation that you can trust. And I don't think there are enough of these people. And it's because of the gap that Facebook have led that I've taken this on to plug that. And actually, I work really closely with Facebook. I'm probably one of few people that have direct access to Facebook. So if I need anything, I ask Facebook, and they fully know that my relationship with Facebook is one-on-one, but my relationship to my community is one-on-many. So any conversation I have, I can amplify that far better than Facebook can. But not only amplify it, I can explain it in a better way than Facebook can. And I think there's a big difference there. A lot of people who try and kind of explain how Facebook works, they actually, some of them are good at Facebook ads, but they're not good at explaining it and breaking it down in a way that makes sense to people. And I think that's the thing that I try and focus on as well.
And as I said previously, I happened to work with a few agencies that were using your method, or in general, and I was really I was proud of myself, to be honest, because I came to close to something similar. I put it on the approach, the strategic approach. I then put it on the group for free. And it's the first time I was like, okay, now like I'm super happy someone like this is, and the same happened with Tim, and someone like this is sharing this approach, because everyone was like, I mean, you know, you take $5 a day, you put it on conversion, you put it in purchase, target worldwide, and then you create your lookalike audience and you just do it. That's the drop shipper,
That's right.
17 kind of way. And the problem is that those people were still using the same method or the same methodology they used in 2015, 2016. It doesn't matter what the client was, whether it's lead gen, whether it's a small firm, whether it's corporate, whether it's a 1 million a month e-commerce or a 10K a month e-commerce. They were using the same approach. And none of the approaches I've seen prior to you and Tim Bard were, let's think about who's buying this actual thing. Let's not think about selling it, but let's try to get to the right people and then work your way to the right audience using the data, the CPO, segmenting different types of objective. You can start with engagement, so you try to increase the frequency, do retargeting based on video views, do different things, and it's everything is available in the blueprint. Like all of this, it's actually technically available in the blueprint. Of course, you are missing the glue to link all of these together and test it and try it and test it in multiple different businesses, which is what I think you and Tim Bird and John Loomer have done lately with a lot of groups. So the number of so-called gurus are, of course, but it's people are getting more aware of what actually is working, and that's what we're trying to do in Italy as well. So I'm going for another more technical question, which I know that bugs a lot of advertisers. So the scaling is what everyone is freaked out about. When it comes to scaling, you have these steady ad sets, the steady CBO campaign at 1K a day, $300 a day, or even 10K a day, and then you're like, okay, we hit the ROAS target. Now I need to scale it, and then you scale it and you fuck it up. That's usually 50, 60, 70% of the time what happens. So what's your best advice for someone who's trying to scale a working campaign, a campaign that's working?
Absolutely. So there's a few things that go wrong with scaling. Number one is data. So if you don't give Facebook enough data, it struggles to get consistency. So those two things go together. Like one thing I say is when I'm managing an ad account that's spending 10K a day or above, it's far easier. Like it's more stable, more predictable, and I'm spending less time on the ad account. Whereas when I'm spending $100 or $500 a day, I'm getting all these variabilities. And you know, a lot of people see the same thing. It comes down to the amount of data you're giving Facebook. So, you know, Facebook say, give us 50 conversions per week per ad set. It's not just a nice thing to have, it's essential. Now, what that conversion is, you control that. So some people think it has to be 50 purchases per week per ad set. It's not the case. It's 50 conversions. So if you're optimizing for add to cart, it's 50 add to carts. If you're optimizing for initiate checkout, it's 50 of those. And that's the way I try and get people to construct their funnels. So I had a coaching call yesterday with someone who's trying to scale against the purchase pixel, and he's not getting he's probably getting about 30 hits per ad set for purchases, which is good, but he's still getting instability. And what we talked about is what I call the account calibration, where what you do is you take your best audience and your best ad, and then you optimize it for all the different pixels and you duplicate it. So you might have one that's optimized for purchase, initiate checkout, payment info, add to cart, view content, landing page, etc. And what I'm doing is running that to 5,000 impressions to figure out which is the one that's giving me performance. Because I tell you what, time and time again, it's not purchase. And it also depends on your AOV as well. Like this guy I spoke to yesterday, his AOV is about $180. In that kind of model, the top of funnel scaling actually comes from optimizing for add to cart, because for that kind of product, it's a product that takes a day or two to convert. So no one's going to come in, land on the site completely cold and buy that $180 product. But what you need to do is think about the journey, right? Okay, so it's $180. He's selling like homeware. And so it needs a bit of consideration. Well, how will it look in my room, etc. So run the ad, get them to the site, get them to add to cart because that's a strong signal of intent. But then work your remarketing, do unboxing videos, testimonials, reviews, all that kind of stuff, to then convert them in. We did that recently with our watch brand. So the watch brand was selling maybe $200 to $300 a piece. And we did the same. Top of the funnel was add to cart, bottom of the funnel was optimized for purchase. And we knew, for example, when the top of the funnel had a 50% to 100% ROAS, then the bottom of the funnel would bring in all the sales. So sometimes the sales do come in at the top, and we'd optimize for add to cart, but we're not worried about the sales. But we use cost per add to cart to determine whether it's on track. So for example, for that store, as long as the cost per add to cart was below, I think, $15, then we knew that when people came through the funnel, they would convert and would get a high ROAS. And on average, we were getting a 3 to 3.5x ROAS, which was highly profitable for us. And we're able to scale it. And that's the thing about scaling, is it's not literally just putting more money into your winning ad set. It's thinking about the funnel and the journey and actually what you're doing for customers. And actually, there's another layer below that, which is, I talk about something called the core 4 principle. There's 4 parts of your business and your ad account that you have to get right. Number 1 is product market fit. So, a lot of people don't really have a product and audience connected, and they get some results and they try and scale it, but maybe you haven't found the right product market fit. Second one is the audience, and that's related to product market fit. Third part is the offer. Now, the offer doesn't mean a discount. The offer is how are you messaging it? What's the angle that you're using for your audience? And the fourth part is your funnel. So the funnel includes how you funnel your ad account, how you funnel your sales funnel, how fast does your landing page load, how well it optimizes your landing page, your cart, et cetera, et cetera. Get all 4 of those in place, and scaling becomes so much easier. And to the extent that often when I'm scaling, I don't often use manual bids. Sometimes I do, but I find that when you've got your core 4 primed and everything's working well, you don't actually need manual bid. You can get the best auctions. As long as your site is converting highly, it's loading fast, you're getting good engagement in your ads, Facebook will want to give you more users, because that's all Facebook want, is happy users. Absolutely. Happy users means that Facebook are getting more engagement. And if you're keeping your user happy, Facebook will give you the best auctions and the highest value customers. Like, it's not rocket science.
No, absolutely. And I'm smiling because, that's what I try to say to everyone, which is like, Facebook business model is to make money through ads. If you run bad ads, they run a bad business. So if you run good ads, which is why I think it's why they divided relevance score and all of that.
That's right.
They are able to show your ads, which are good, they create a good experience for the user, and they are going to show it more. It doesn't matter what's the bid or whatever it is.
That's right.
And another thing, I had a conversation a month ago with an agency owner who was with the marketing, the Facebook ads department, paid media director, and we were talking about launching a new store. And I was like, okay, if you want, we have the data, we know what you've done, your audience, your research. We don't have any data. We can share pixel. We can do anything like that. So let's launch the campaigns we created some custom events. So how long someone stays on the page, if they scroll, if they don't scroll, and then view content, add to cart, and you should check out the payment info and purchase, and we launch it. And the paid media director was, no, man, we want to optimize for conversion. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have the conversion events. Build up your view content event, build up your add to cart, the initial checkout, the ad payment info, and then the purchase, and you're going to see that long-term works. Because it's not that the data you have on the view content, and maybe you can, I don't know, this is just, I don't have the confirmation, but you can confirm this. It's not that if you have data on the purchase pixel, Facebook is only going to use the data on your purchase pixel. Facebook uses the data on your pixel in general. So they know when you optimize for view content, they take the historical data on the view content pixel, but you also take into account what's working in general.
That's right.
And that's what they do. So if you build up, so you take the client, like you take a potential customer by hand from this beginning to end. So behavioral retargeting, who's done page view, I push them to do view content, who's done view content, I push them to do add to cart to initiate checkout, and so on and so forth. You're going to see that sometimes the ad set with the best ROAS is not even the purchase ad set. I've seen that a lot of, in my experience, initiate checkout in some cases works much, much better. Maybe it's because you have less competition. Maybe it's because people are bidding on purchase or bidding on add to cart, but it doesn't mean that conversion, like you have to, as you said, it's conversion. You optimize for conversion event for data entry points. The purchase event is one of many data entry points which you want to optimize. So the same goes for keeping the best ads with the best CTR. All, in my experience, what is the best. That's the cheapest source of data. So that's it. I assume, and I just wanted confirmation from you. What do you think of these kind of approaches? The one I assume you use for scaling and in general for setting up the ad accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. So like one of the concepts I use is called graduation testing. So what I do is I dip an ad into an audience and just see if there's a match. I don't scale it. I don't do anything. All I do is just drop it in. I run it to 2,000 to 3,000 impressions. And if I get good metrics, and I'm talking about cost per add to cart, cost per initiate checkout, depending on the AOV, then I move it to my scaling campaign. So the analogy I use, I'm a big fan of pizza. So the analogy I use is when you have a pizza and you want to try it for the first time, you don't have to finish the whole thing. You just take one bite and then you know if you like it or not. Obviously, the same happens with any dish. The same is the case for me with audiences and ads. If you drop the ad in and the audience don't like it, they're not going to click. You're not going to get people add to cart, etc. At the moment you find that they are, then move it to your scale campaign and now start trying to push more budget in. And I do that en masse. So regardless of if I'm spending $100 a day, 500 or 1,000 on testing, I'm testing lots of audiences and lots of ads at any given time in this format. So I drop them in, see if they work. And if they do, then I kind of move them into my scaling. And also what I've managed to do is when you plug in rules and automation, you can actually get those paused and automatically graded by the machine. So I have this thing that I kind of built in where once it's hit that number of impressions, the tool will look at the cost per add to cart. If it's within range, then it will change the name to say this is a winner. If it's out, then it will say loser. And all my team do is run a report every day. And if there are any winners, move them to scaling. And that's it. And it's like, it's semi-automated. All we do is throw the ads and ad sets in. Then the report tells us what to go and scale, and then we give it a go.
Out of curiosity, do you do it with rules on Facebook, your own API access, or RevealBot?
I use RevealBot. I know a lot of people starting out, it's expensive, but the good thing about RevealBot is it measures every 15 minutes, and Facebook only measures every 30 minutes. And secondly, I don't believe Facebook allows you to change the name of an ad. Maybe they've changed it now, but that's one of the things that RevealBot does. Furthermore, our workflow plugs the RevealBot data into Slack. So we have channels for notifications, and every time something happens or there's a winner or there's an optimization, there's a budget increase, budget decrease, we have channels for all the different stores and sites we're running. So we have insight as to everything that's going on, and Facebook don't do that. That's the only thing. So yeah, it just makes it easier for our workflow and kind of management of that as well.
And before we go with the question time from the audience, I'm out of curiosity, one more thing. Sure. For the reports, I mean, you got RevealBot Slack. I've set that up as well, but I used to go also through Supermetrics. So do RevealBot in some cases, and you do use Supermetrics as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's a lot of people, and that's the importance of data to me. So people think data, like, you check the ad account, you put the last 7 days and you check the data and you remember it because you know it, because you are, but actually no one has the spreadsheets of, the breakdowns, the age, gender placement, device. And it might look, sometimes it might look like weird. I wouldn't do that on a local business where you're spending, $500 a month for a restaurant. There's no need. But if you're spending $50K and above a month, you have, as long as the CPM might be, 3, or let's do it 5 for the sake of simplicity, you have 50 million people in there. You have 50 million impressions, which you can divide by different segments. You can divide by different breakdowns, and Supermetrics allows you to do that really, really quick. And it's intuitive. And then a lot of people are not taking into account the amount of data Facebook gives.
And it actually is that. Absolutely. And it's not even just the breakdowns. As an agency, I can see across 20, 30, 40 ad sets in one view in Excel, in Google Sheets, just through Supermetrics, and we have all the high-level stats. Imagine manually checking 40 ad accounts is just insane, but we can have them listed and grouped in tabs, and I can quickly see through color coding which ones need attention as well, and that just solves so many problems as well.
You do and also you can have the macros on Google Sheets with the conditional formatting. If something happens, they move it to another sheet, and you have everything. And that's also the importance of having a lean kind of agency, of having everything that's that's straight to the point, task management, the right responsibilities to the right people, the right tasks to the other people, delegating, and it's something you can sustain alone. I don't know if you had this approach when you were working solo or with Google for your affiliate business. But I've come to find that, of course, you can do it solo, but it's going to take so much time, and the time, your time is much more valuable than checking in Supermetrics and Zapier and whatever works.
Absolutely.
And so you have to give up responsibility. And I think that what people do wrong is that they give up tasks. So you assign a task to one of the collaborators, even if he doesn't understand, and he doesn't have the responsibility for that specific task. He just needs to apply it, and he's going to come back with 16 different questions, and you're going to have to give 16 answers. And at that point, you could have done it yourself. So that leads me to a physiological question, like a natural question that comes out of this, which is, how do you handle your team? Like, I'm curious. Like, how does it work? I assume Slack, Zoom, the G Drive, and all the usual stuff. But in terms,
I'm sorry, I just missed that last bit. It just cut off.
Sorry. Yeah. How do you delegate? How do you delegate with your team? How does that actually, that interaction work?
Sure. So, like, because I've been in business now, running my own business since 2011, and I've also consulted for startups. I've learned a ton about what works and what doesn't. Every hire you have, they either save you money or they make you money. So once you get your head around that, it's like, if, for example, you start a business and you're booking time in the diary with clients and stuff like that, you are literally losing money, because let's say your time is 250 euros an hour and you just booked 10 client calls in, it took you half an hour. That's cost you 125 euros of your time. Now, if you hire a VA for 5 euros or whatever it is, they can do all of that for you, and you've all of a sudden saved yourself 120 euros. That's a small example, but that's the way I kind of see my operation. So either I need to hire someone I can delegate to that's going to save me money, or I want to hire the best people that are going to help me make money. So recently we just hired a new tech guy. He does funnels, he does systems integrations and all this kind of stuff. And he's helping us make money because he's doing stuff that I can't even do. So there's things that you can do that you can delegate out. There's things that you can't do that you bring talent in. So that's the kind of way I see my kind of, my input is, and you know, as a CEO, as a leader of the business, you're the orchestrator. You have to conduct your business, right? Everyone's heard the saying that you either work in your business or you work on your business. There are times, and here's the thing that people don't explain. There are times where you have to work in your business. So like in any business, everyone wants to step back and have the business just working on automation and you go and make money. Generally, that doesn't happen because there's either new opportunities or problems and stuff. But you want to spend more of your time working on the business than in it. So for example, if we launch a new product, I'm going to come in and work in the business because I'll be shooting videos, I'll be working with a team on strategy and things like that. Once the product's launched, then I can step back and I can do more community stuff and work on our other projects. But this is the kind of balance that I think everyone needs to try and get. Then in terms of kind of day-to-day with a team, what I've tried to do is build the structure in place so that, for example, the agency has an amazing account manager. She'll manage all the client communications, the team delegation, media owning. She runs daily stand-ups. So every morning there'll be like a half an hour or less call to say, where are we, what are the biggest problems, etc. We use Asana to manage the tasks, Slack and Zoom for communications. And then on the other side, we're just about to hire up a new project manager so that other projects are taken care of. One of the mistakes I made early on was trying to manage all these projects. A, I don't like project management, but B, I also become a big bottleneck because I'm so busy every day. Like, for example, I get lots of Slack messages. It's got to the point where I just can't keep up with it. So I have one channel, which is a sign-off channel for me. So if anyone needs anything from me, it just goes into one channel. So I know I just need to track one channel. I can let all the other conversations happen, but I've made it clear to my team, A, if it's not tagged there, I'm probably going to miss it. And B, if it's urgent, then you need to WhatsApp me so that you actually grab my time and make sure that I answer whatever it is. So we have that escalation point working, and so far it seems to be working well. But, you know, the goal is, as far as possible, I want to remove myself as a bottleneck. So if it's to do with training or bringing in more people, the more people are relying on me, the slower the projects are going to become.
And I've unfortunately realized that far too late with the agency I was running, and I became the bottleneck when we were for everything, because I hired delegating tasks rather than delegating responsibilities, and Slack was a mess. Slack was just a nightmare, and you had 99 plus on a lot of chats and a lot of catch up, and you're like, okay, let's catch up 99 plus. I'm like, oh man, that's not gonna happen.
And actually on that, I had to tell my team to not rely on like threads to have conversations. I said, if the conversation goes above 10 thread comments, jump on a call. Because we had one case where there was like over 200 back and forth messages, and it took about half an hour to 45 minutes to solve a simple problem. I said, guys, that's a 5-minute phone call. Jump on the video, Zoom, whatever it is. You will solve it in 5 minutes. Whereas this took like 45 minutes. It's a waste of their time. It's a cost on the business that we don't need. And it just frustrates everyone as well.
Yeah, and we implemented Loom. Do you know Loom?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the easiest way. I mean, you have a problem. You need something. Just do a 3 minutes Loom video that someone is gonna watch at 2x.
That's right.
It's literally a minute and a half, and we are done. So that's solved a lot of problem. Like Slack, Zoom, Loom, the task manager, and all of that. So we have one question. We have one question so far from you. We have more than one, but let's start with one. Alessio is asking, what requirements do you look for when it comes to taking on new clients?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So when I started the agency, we had this kind of vision that will help as many companies as possible. So we had e-com, lead gen, local clients, mobile app, and everything in between that. But what we realized is if we want to create repeatable process and literally kind of copy and paste our structure and everything, we had to niche down. So the first niche we went down is e-com. But even within e-com, there are people that have just started their store, and they come to us and say, we've seen your results. We want you to scale us up to 7 figures. But they don't have the right things ready in place. They don't have design resource. Their store is a mess. They haven't tested or validated their product, etc. We actually made a shift in our agency at the start of this year where we no longer take on media buying clients. So we do consultancy, strategy, audits, builds, coaching, one-to-ones, all that kind of stuff. But we're no longer doing media buying, because what we realized is when you take on the responsibility of media buying, unless the client gives you what you need, because you're the expert, you know what you need. If it was your own store, you'd get all the right things in place. But we got so frustrated because clients often either want to override you or they're not giving you the support you need. Yet when the results don't come in, then it's your fault. And so that became quite frustrating. The other challenge we had was we were scaling companies up, got them so successful that they would then bring their team in-house. So they'd build a media team in-house and replace us. And what happened is, when that happens time and time again, your media buyers, they spend 6 to 9 months getting really involved in the business, and then we have to tell them, no, we have to stop that. We have to start again with a new client, get them up, start again, and that became frustrating. So, start of the year, we kind of shifted the model. Our team are far happier. We're working with better clients that are actually doing 7 figures that we're scaling up to 8, and we're more profitable. And so for the agency, and also I'm spending less time because everything we're doing is systemized and predictable. So I previously with media buying, things go wrong, unexpected things, things that you even try to plan for and stuff, it just doesn't work out. Whereas now it's so much more predictable that I don't need to spend so much time with the agency. So I can actually take a big step back, and that's made a huge difference to everyone. And it's certainly the right move for us. We do take on clients if they're at high 7 figures and they want to scale up, but we've made it intentionally expensive because we only want to work with premium brands. And so the kind of agency now, the amount of leads we get through, we can't service them all. So now we create the kind of different products. So sometimes we might partner with another agency and send leads there. Sometimes we might try and get them in our training program or coaching or whatever it is. But right now the agency is focusing on a kind of more consulting and strategy than anything else.
And that's the most consumer-centric approach you can take, because at the end of the day, you want to have, it's people starting out, they want to have the agency and all of that, and that might be profitable for you, but in the long term, it's not the best decision for the client.
That's right.
In the long term, if you bring them to scale, it makes sense for them to have to have an internal team.
That's right.
They can't work with an outsourcer. And also because, if you're able to explain to them, to teach them why content, for example, matters. You don't have more on a monthly basis. Hey man, I need 4 new vertical 9 to 16 videos, 15 seconds long max. And no man, we sent it last week. I don't like this, I don't like that. And they just don't understand sometimes. And these agency brand collaboration it's not going to work long term. If they are spending, if you want to bring them to 50 millions a year, to 100 millions a year, you're not going to work with an outsourced team just because it doesn't make sense. It's
That's right.
You increase the complexity, increase the costs. That's how economic system works. That's how business works. People just don't understand. So I'm not trying to say this because I want to tell people don't open an agency. You can start it. Just it can be profitable. It depends what type of clients you take on. But in the long term, the more customer centric you are, the more you're going to last. And that's the point. And they are even happy to increase your paycheck. I mean, they are even happy to increase the invoice. I mean, because you are providing value for real. And if you leave, nothing is going to happen. On the other end, I'm not saying you're slaves, so to say, of your will, but both parties are. I mean, if you're late, their business goes down. If they are late, your campaign goes down. It's your fault whether they are late or not. So the hybrid kind of approach, I think, it's the one that makes the most sense. And even if we didn't talk about more technical aspects, I think that the audience, this is what really matters. So this is what really matters. It doesn't matter do we run a PP or a video views. Do I scale at $50 or do I scale at 5K? It doesn't really matter. That's what's matter for the sustainability of a business and all of that. But I have to ask you one last question, because that's the question I get asked the most, and I try to give always the same kind of answer. But I want to see with you what your approach would be. So it's really, really small budget, really, really going back, completely changing the subject for a local business. So people start out usually with a local business. You go to the restaurant, the dentist, the lawyer, lead generation, and all of that, and you have $500 a month. What would your approach be?
So the biggest thing about local business is the offer. Like you can do your local targeting. You've got your products. Most businesses are established. But really it's the offer and then kind of underneath that, the creative. So with local businesses, I don't find it so difficult to find the target audience, especially like, for example, if you do a video views campaign in a small area, you don't need to even put interests in, as long as the video is clear who it's for. So like, if you ever wanted shiny white teeth, you're doing a dental campaign, stuff like that. People that see the ad that are not into shiny white teeth are going to ignore it. People that want to will engage in the video. But for me, it's about the video and the offer. Like, how can you build something that's going to get them through the door? So the offer, I know some kind of local businesses don't really want to do offers, but it doesn't need to be a discount. It could also be a value add. So for example, if it's a restaurant, you might say, if you book a stay, you get a free dessert or something. That kind of thing. Just get them through the door and get the local business owner to understand that with the first acquisition, it's not just about how much you can maximize profit. It's can you get a good cost per acquisition to just get that first customer through the door, because then it's down on the owner to keep that conversation going. So if you're a restaurant, a dental service, a gym, people kind of forget that Facebook is an entry point. It's not the thing that's going to scale your business, especially for local. It's the entry point. So the way I look at it is, if you're a gym owner and you're looking for signups and you have a kind of target, I want to ask, what do you know about your lifetime value? What are you going to do as a store, as a business owner, to get them coming back again and again and again? So I can get them through an offer, free trial or free 1 hour workout or whatever it is with a PT. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do to actually retain that customer? Like, that's as important as the offer, I think.
And that's guys, you don't have to trust me when I say it, but if Depesh says it, at least trust him, because that's the point. It's the first contact they have, and then you instruct the client to work on the lifetime value. That's how it works. People go to the restaurant. If they like the restaurant, you're going to come for the rest of their life. Exactly. And that's what you need to explain to the client. Absolutely. So let's finish this off with our usual 3 super fast questions. So I'm going to ask 3 questions, and you're going to to give the fastest answer you can to the point and see how that goes. Okay.
Let's go.
So we have Marco that's asking, do you think Facebook will put in place a platform where you can create content for your ads?
So they've kind of already got that. So if you look at the video creator at the ad level, you can do that. They've got stock images and things like that if that's the route you want to take. But they are kind of doing that already.
Okay. Question number 2 from Kevin. Hey, man. So he's saying, how do you charge your clients? Is it a fixed fee or revenue share?
We have a minimum retainer, and then it's % of ad spend. So I know a lot of people don't like % of ad spend, but what we do is we audit the business ahead of time. We look at their targets, their ROAS targets, their kind of forecast. We then decide if that's realistic. And then I don't actually tell my team to spend as much money, but we focus internally on profitability. So that's how we're able to get really high ROAS and scale, and the business makes money as well.
Amazing approach. And Yasin, hey Yasin, he's saying, how do you recommend to go about in that space? I assume the hybrid kind of agency setup.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Just repeat that.
So how do you recommend to go about lead generation in that space? So your hybrid agency, media buying and consulting setup.
Sure. So actually, a lot of businesses are now looking at kind of buying and selling leads. So not actually working for the company and taking their ad spend and generating them leads, but actually building up an audience and getting leads for, let's say, $2 and selling them to the client for $4. So it's that kind of almost like an arbitration type of thing where you're able to kind of buy leads and sell it. That seems to be a popular model. But certainly if you're going down the kind of lead route, it's harder because I work with e-com and e-com businesses that are already doing 7 figures. So they've got either a media agency already, but they've hit a kind of plateau, or they've got a media team in-house and they need someone with experience to take them to 2, 3, 4 times what they're doing right now. So that's the gap we're filling. We found a specific gap where, one of our clients we took on, they're expanding out the US. So actually we're setting up their ad account in Europe using my training strategy. So we've got a 6-week program. We set up everything. We're now at the stage where we're testing to scale, and then we give it back to them and we do consulting. So it's kind of, we've got a specific gap that we've filled out here.
It's definitely a unique value proposition. It's pretty strong. I mean, unique selling proposition as well. ICA well defined, and well, that's the secret, in my opinion, to kind of success. Content marketing, provide valuable content, have a unique selling proposition, sales proposition, have a great ideal client avatar well defined.
Yeah,
and things are gonna happen. Depesh, thank you so much for the value sharing this interview. I hope it's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people in here, especially your approach on media buying versus consulting to grow the business, because your expertise in Facebook ads doesn't mean you have to run Facebook ads campaigns. It means you can help people run and create a more sustainable business long-term, create a more sustainable relationship, increase the lifetime value, even if the retainer might be lower, but you're going to spend a lot less time, so profitability is going to go up and all of that. Thank you so much, Depesh. And guys, for the ones of you that are not in Depesh group, I'm going to link it after the interview. It's an amazing group, great support, great group members. It's the support and engagement within the group members. It's great. Very few fake gurus, and absolutely recommended. Thank you so much, Depesh.
Pleasure. Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Bye.